Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Five Hole Fantasy Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Branson. Late start today. Wife got a trip to Amsterdam, and it happened a little bit last second. So my 6:30 turned into 7:30, turned into 8 o'clock for the live stream here on YouTube. Um, just doing showers, doing dinner. Things happened when you're doing solo dad stuff. So I know a lot of the people here can agree and relate. Anyway, let's get back into it. Welcome to Five Hole Fantasy Hockey, your source for vibes and fantasy hockey advice. Heavy on the vibes. Trying to get into the rhythm here, guys. Sorry. You can find us on Twitter at FHF Hockey. You can get in the Fantasy Hockey Discord and chirp us anytime. DMs are open on Twitter. We got people out there, and in the Discord too. Feel free to hit the FHFH hotline. We're going to be using the FHFhockey.com game grid today as we go over the week 6 script. Sorry, I'm like really preoccupied. I'm getting whooped again. This has been maybe my worst season of fantasy hockey ever. I think through 3 leagues, like, what are we, 5 weeks in? I think collectively, I think I have like 3 wins through 3 leagues, 5 weeks. It's just been such a brutal season for me. And that's been getting to me, like you feel like you do everything right. You get all the right guys at the draft. You really like your team, and then injuries happen. Guys are on cold streaks. Like I like my team. After the draft, we were projected to have the best team, and we drafted from, I think, the 10 spot in one league. By all projections and Scott Cullen and everybody's kind of like all mixed together. I thought we did well. And now, 5 weeks in, and man, anybody else like really doubting themselves and ready to pack it in? It's not even fucking December. But we're going to keep on trucking. And also, I opened up the game grid. It still says week 5, but I think I know why. Like, I added this in so that it would reflect the week that we're viewing, but I think it only responds to the day that it like currently is. So I'm going to have to check on that, but that's just a web development bug. Anyway, let's get into it, man. We're going to be looking at the week 6 matchup and the teams in stream that are worth targeting and trying to exploit the schedule to get some extra games, to get some extra points, things like that. The Rangers, the Islanders, and Nashville lead the way in off nights. The New York teams lead the way in games played and off nights. Nashville has 3-3. The Rangers and the Islanders have 4-3. So we like those teams. And I've got some really good nuggets about the Rangers and also St. Louis. We're going to do a triage on Panarin, a little bit on Stamkos, and a little bit on St. Louis. I think there's a lot of similarities between the Rangers and St. Louis right now in terms of like home and away. Anybody that is a Rangers fan knows how bad they have been at home. And I'm going to get into that. Because the Rangers have one of the best schedules this week, and they're playing 2 of their games at home, and they are a garbage team at home. So we're going to try to like kind of dance around those. It also helps that the Islanders don't play on Saturday and they play on Sunday, so we can kind of like bookend the New York Rangers with the Islanders to try and make like perfect optimal schedule. So let's get into it. The week review. We want to talk about just like what happened this last week. Colorado Avalanche absolutely mollywopped Edmonton. The collective Picard and Skinner duo had a sub 800 save percentage combined. Picard let 5 goals in, had a 762, and Skinner had a 692 and 4 goals allowed. 4-point night for McKinnon. A couple other randos, like I think who was it, Jack Drury and Parker Kelly. I don't know if I'm just getting my randos mixed up, but I think they had 2 goals each, or like had kind of just a random hot night, which was wild. Anaheim Ducks, man, worth an entire episode, I think, of just like unpacking what's going on in Anaheim. They are 10-3-1 right now. 4th in the league in points, 2nd in points percentage, 1st in the league in goals for per game. Like, who would have thought? Like, last year, every single time the Anaheim Ducks come up, we were like, yeah, this is like 50-point players tops. And now we've got Cutter Gauthier, three shots behind Nate McKinnon as of last night with one less game. 2nd in the league in shots on goal. He's got 18 points in 14 games, shooting 17.2%, which could just be who he is. The kid's a menace. We fired John Tortorella 1 year too late because we could have this kid on our team. I'm never going to let that go. Like, his entire career, I'm going to hate him as a Flyers fan, or at least just be salty. Some of the storylines and injuries we're going to get into today. Jordan Kyrou, healthy scratch, which reminds me a lot, like we were just talking about Tortorella, reminds me of what Torts used to do here in Philly. Like, we would scratch Couturier, we would scratch Konechny. Now, I'm not plugged in directly to the St. Louis, rumors and news and things like that. So if there are St. Louis fans out there who would be able to kind of like give me an idea of what actually happened, if there's like a reason that Kyrou was scratched. But to me, this just like, it feels a lot like what Tortorella used to do here in Philly. Konechny, Couturier, Mishkov, like all our best players, our highest pedigree players, he would bench them to send a message. Like, he didn't like the way the team was playing. He would put one of the big boys on the bench and be like, yo, anybody can get scratched. Fuck you all. And I wonder if that's what Montgomery's doing right now. I mean, the message kind of falls on deaf ears in St. Louis. Like, Binnington, over the last 10 days, like this is something that I have on the homepage now. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. But over the last 10 days, Jordan Binnington is the 5th most dropped player in Yahoo Fantasy. And I mean, Jordan Kyrou was number 9. I think, the St. Louis Blues, 3 of the top 10 most dropped players are St. Louis Blues. Pavel Buchnevich is right up there, despite his tri-eligibility, but I thought Binnington was huge. Look at this ownership percentage. Like, he fell 11% and is now at 72%. So I'm a Jordan Binnington owner myself, and I'm starting to think like, Dobesh looks really good. I'm starting to think like, fuck Binnington, man. And I got him, I think, in like the 14th round. So it's not even like, that you invested that much in him. So I really got to go off. I got to get it off of him. But I thought volume would kind of like drown out any inefficiencies in quality. Like, if the quantity could drown out the quality, then it would be okay. But it hasn't been that case. I think I looked at my season-long stats for Binnington. He's got like 33 points. And that's 2 games from a good goalie. And 33 points across the entire season. He's got like 10 starts or some shit. He's a problem. And I think a lot of people, rightfully so, as you can see, he's the 10th most drop or 5th most drop player over the last 10 days. Get into the 3-day zone. That's where Jordan Kyrou is number 1, Buchnevich number 3. I mean, people, Dylan Holloway, Jordan Binnington again, like minus 2% over the last 3 days. There's just something going on in St. Louis. Their offense 23rd in goals for per game. Their defense is giving up the most, DFL, dead fucking last, goals against per game played. And we're going to get into the home and away differences later, like the splits for home and away with the Rangers. But the St. Louis has a bit of the same. They're really bad at home, but the Rangers are good on the road, and the Blues are just less bad on the road. Like, they're bad at home and on the road. But man, so goals for percentage, St. Louis is second worst, and that's where New York is worst at home. Shots for, they're 19th. Expected goals, St. Louis is actually 8th in the league. So they've been getting unlucky. Like, they're getting to the net. It's just the save percentage of opposing goalies has been outrageous against them at home. And like, scoring chances, they're 12th. High danger chances, they're 7th. And then you look at away, their goals for percentage is 21st, where it was 31st at home. Shots for is 18th. They were 19th at home. Expected goals for 10th, where they were 8th. So again, they're getting pretty unlucky. Scoring chances are 12th, both at home and on the road. And high danger chances on the road for the St. Louis Blues, they're 5th. So they are getting looks. Things are just not happening. They cannot convert. They're getting average to above average chances, and sometimes good to decent chances relative to league average, but they're just not finishing. They have the 11th worst in the league all strength shooting percentage, 9th worst 5-on-5 shooting percentage. The only team with worse 5-on-5 save percentage than the Blues is Edmonton, and that's only because of the 9 goals they let up yesterday. And if you take that out, St. Louis is like head and shoulders the worst team by a long shot. Montreal, Colorado are the next 2 worst teams. And team save percentage as all strengths, like that was 5-on-5 save percentage at all strengths. It's worse because then you're counting penalty kill and things like that. They cannot stop a goal. They can't create goals. Like they're getting deflated night in, night out. All right, moving on to the other storylines here. Tyler Bertuzzi, bad week for Chicago, but good week for this past week for Tyler Bertuzzi owners. 5 goals, looking hot. Is a watch list priority, and like I say that only because Chicago, terrible schedule, 2 games, 1 off night upcoming. And if you want to bet on Bertuzzi's hot run sustaining, like number one, he's playing on a heavy night. So that means you need to take out a starter, one of your, higher on the totem pole guys. So that's -1 game played to put Bertuzzi in. So you're like treading water, but you're also benching somebody and then not getting a streamer for him. So you're losing out on games that could happen on off nights. I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to logic myself into it, but you got to get rid of Bertuzzi. If you're betting on Bertuzzi, number one, to continue his hot run, and only twice this week, like, he's going to play on Wednesday and then again on Saturday. Saturday's packed to the brim, 13 games. So you're not going to play Bertuzzi, or you shouldn't on Saturday versus the Leafs. But Wednesday, maybe you can spot start him. Like maybe you can hold on to Wednesday, like 4 games for Chicago, or 4 games on Wednesday. Like if you really want to just choke down the Monday, Tuesday, not get a Columbus player who has a back-to-back Monday, Tuesday to get Bertuzzi's Wednesday game, I'm not going to blame you, especially if you have a second stream spot that you can still cycle somebody in Monday, Tuesday. But after Wednesday, you gotta cut bait, because Thursday through Sunday, Bertuzzi should be an active body, and the only way to do that is to cycle him out, to stream somebody else in. Injuries, man, they're hefty. A lot of personal reasons this week. Dahlin and McAvoy are the 2 personal reasons, not injuries, but missing games. Dahlin stepping away, supporting his fiance who had a heart transplant. No return date, but good on him for going to be there. I couldn't even imagine what that would be like and how hard it would be to not be there. So totally understand. And, our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family there. Charlie McAvoy, not sure what his personal reasons are. Don't want to know. Like, that's not my business, but he is day-to-day for personal reasons. Owen Power, I should have said, did not get the top power play. I think it was Bowen Byram. I got to check the shift chart here, but I think Bo Byram got the look. So I'll pull that up while I'm going through the rest of the stuff here. Joseph Woll on a conditioning stint. He's probably going to pop into 50-50 looking, like with Stolarz. Stolarz just didn't he get pulled last night? I think he did. All right, so that's a Buffalo penalty kill. So let's see, where did Buffalo get a power play? Sorry, I'm doing this shit live on it. So there's Bo Byram. He's with Krebs, McLeod, Ostland, Rosen, and so that's still penalty kill. Did Buffalo even have a power play yesterday? Anyway, sorry, I'm sure this is thrilling. Samuel Ersson is working his way back. Hilasov got sent to the minors, so chances are we're going to be seeing Ersson back pretty soon. He has had his stretches, which I thought was surprising. Like, there was this hilarious tweet going into the season where uh, fuck, I forget what it was, but like the two worst goaltenders by this one stat were Urson and Vladar, and Danny like went out and hunted down Vladar in free agency, and like I don't know if that was his way of like creatively trying to get Gavin McKenna in the lottery next year or what, but yeah, that's I mean, if that was his plan, it's certainly backfiring because Vladar looked good. You know, now he's showing himself to be a true flyer, but it is what it is. Patty Kane is back, 6 shots on goal in his first game back. For me, he's a high priority ad. Detroit, this past week had a really good looking schedule. For Detroit next week, they have a backloaded schedule, 3 games, 1 off night starting on Thursday. So you're not really going to, Patty Kane might be worth, wiggling into your Thursday lineup. But Saturday's tough. And Sunday playing the Rangers in Madison Square Garden. That could actually work out just based on how bad the Rangers have been at home. Anyway, Patty Kane's back. I really like him. Zuccarello's back as well. Sorelli placed on IR yesterday, Saturday, November 8th. Josh Norris started skating. Sean Monahan, kind of questionable this weekend. But if he comes back, then Adam Fantilli's outlook starts to go down. Thatcher Demko placed on IR yesterday. It was supposed to just be like a one-day thing, but he got, thrown on IR November 8th. Lankinen is obviously the guy you're going to be turning to for the short term there. Frankie Nazar, lower body injury, could be playing today. I got to check in on that one. I wrote these notes earlier. Zane Parekh, potentially long-term upper body injury, was placed on IR yesterday as well. Scotty Lawton, IR just days after returning from injury. Casey Middlestat on IR, and Joey Decord, IR, with a upper body injury. Best 5-on-5 save percentage in the league, Seattle. How about that? Wouldn't think it, would you? All right, let's get into the schedule breakdown. The games count. 46 total games this week. It's a light week. Monday with 4 games, Tuesday 9, Wednesday 4, Thursday 10, Friday 4, Saturday big day 13, and Sunday 5. Really evenly spread off nights, and the 9-game Tuesday, like that's just on the other side of an off night. So it's not like it's not impossible that you're gonna have open spots. So like this is when these off nights are really light relative to like being a heavy night. Sorry, that's what I meant. When heavy nights are kind of light, like, you're not getting 14 or, 15 or 16 even, like 9 and 10 and 8 even, depending on where you draw the line in the sand for an off night. But like when they're lighter, I tend to draw back a little bit. Like sometimes it makes a lot of sense to prioritize off nights. It always does. But on if you're just shopping on the waiver wire and you're like the New York Islanders, boom, like that's what I'm doing. They have the best schedule this week. Or you could look at Edmonton, who's playing Monday, Wednesday. So boom, boom, you got 2 off nights to start the week. And then they're going to play Thursday, which is a 10 game. So like, could you fit somebody in? Maybe. Saturday, chances are probably pretty low. But, these Columbus, they pretty good to start the week. Like Monday, Tuesday, back to back, you can get 2 games out of a Fantilli, out of a Boone Jenner. And that Tuesday, 9 games. So like just on the other side of an off night. So check your schedule. See if there's room, because you might not need to like lean so hard to the off nights this week. The heavy nights are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, as is per usual. And the light nights are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. It's a standard week, just a little bit lighter. Let's talk about quantity of games played leaders. 4 games. That's going to be the Islanders, the New York Rangers, Edmonton Oilers, Vegas Golden Knights, and Columbus Blue Jackets. If we're talking off-night quantity, so quality of games played leaders, that's Nashville, New York, and New York Islanders, Rangers and Islanders there with 3 off nights. So 3 teams with 3 off nights, Nashville being the team that has 3 games, 3 off nights. Oh, yes. 2 off nights. There are a bunch. The only 2 teams with 4 games, 2 off nights, Edmonton and Vegas. Also worth a shake, just seeing whether or not you can fit them in, because these are 2 teams that like right here, Edmonton, they great start to the week. Thursday, you might be able to fit somebody in. Vegas is kind of like the flip side. They're playing Monday as well. But then they are off until Thursday, and then they play Saturday, Sunday. So if we're like they bookend the week, Monday and Sunday with off nights, but the middle of the week might be a little more difficult to fit, streamer level, replacement level, whatever you want to call them, waiver wire guy into your roster over your starters. The easier schedules, what I like to do, Dauber Hockey, if you go do the schedule planner, they give you the records of the opponents that teams will face during the week. San Jose has maybe one of the easiest roads with a Minnesota, Calgary, Seattle crop of opponents. So they're going to 467 points percentage is their opponent average. Winnipeg as well, Vancouver, Seattle, and Calgary 0.478. With 4 games, the easiest schedules, I think Vegas has a really nice one. They're going to be seeing Florida, the Islanders, the Blues, which are just tanking the average, and then Minnesota, who's having like an uncharacteristically kind of like subpar season. They also are seeing the goals allowed of their opponents. The average of it is the 4th highest this week, and they only score I think 10th lowest, like under 3 goals. So the matchups look really good, especially if you're looking at they have one back-to-back. So if you're looking at the Vegas goalies as potentially as a spot start, because I think Aiden Hill, God, NHL trade alert, I think put something out there that was like Aiden Hill could be out for months. So looking at those Vegas goalies, like that's where you want to start shopping. And then, you got Carter Hart kind of waiting in the wings. I guess December 1st is going to be when he's eligible to play. So you got a good month out of potentially, your Akira Schmieds. Yeah, let's get into the stream and drop strategy. What I want to do, painting kind of with a wide brush here. The tier 1 teams, in my opinion, the Rangers and the Islanders, like if we're talking 1A, 1B, the Islanders are 1A, 1B is the Rangers. And I think that gets exacerbated as soon as I start to talk about the Rangers a little bit. And you'll understand just how bad they are at home. Tier 2 teams is going to be Nashville as like the 2A because they have 3 games, 3 off nights. And then like kind of on par with that is Edmonton and Vegas, who have 4 games, 2 off nights. So they offset the off night with an extra game. The worst teams is Chicago, 2 games, 1 off night. And then we're going to see, I'll just sort the game grid here by score. That's where Chicago has a -5 score on the week. Pittsburgh, Utah, Winnipeg, the next worst teams there. And then, 3 games, 0 off nights. There's a, gamut of teams: Anaheim, Boston, Calgary, Dallas, LA, Montreal, Ottawa, San Jose, Seattle, Toronto, Washington, Winnipeg. So if you're thinking about those fringe players that are on any one of those teams, like Anaheim, you got to think of like who are the guys that don't drop just straight from the team. It's going to be like Gauthier based on how hot he is. Like the team is on fire right now. I know you want to like invest heavily in this team, but like a Chris Kreider, I could see if you're in like a deeper league holding on to him. But if you're in a 10, I'd be even thinking about it in a 12, getting, set your roster. And I'm pretty sure he's left wing only. I don't own him anywhere, so I'm not sure if he's dual eligible or not, but like set your lineup, see if he fits in on those heavy days. Tuesday is a little bit lighter, but if you can swap him out at any point and like get a warm body in, you absolutely should. McTavish, I think, is somebody that I'd be dropping. But like Troy Terry, Jackson Lacombe, obviously you're keeping Dostal. Yeah. And then Chicago, I think it's Bedard straight up, and that's it. Not even Renzel, because now Artem Levshinov is starting to flirt with that top power play. He's getting the shift. Frankie Nazar is on the shelf right now, so you can bounce off him. I think Bertuzzi's got to go. Burakovsky's got to go. Teravainen, same deal. Boston, you've got your obvies. Like Pasta's an obvi. Actually, he might be the only one. Like Geeky is pretty hot right now. McAvoy, you can probably stash in IR plus or IR. And then like Zaka is where you start to like get on the fence. And to be honest with you, like Zaka, nobody's gonna, if you drop Zaka for this week, nobody's gonna be like, oh fuck, like let me burn a roster spot on this 0 off night guy. So I think he's safe. Like you drop him, just do it, guys. Just do it. Calgary's another one. Like, think about your obvious. It's going to be Mackenzie Weegar, and that might be it. Nazem Kadri obviously would be the next, I think, next like obvi candidate. But everybody else, your Blake Colemans, your Johnny Hubertos, even like Rasmus Anderson, you can bounce them out. I think like they got to go. Dallas, you got your pretty obvious Joe, Harley, J-Rob, Rantanen, Heiskanen, Rope, and like Sagan. I'd be thinking about. Los Angeles Kings, like Fiala, Kempe, Kopitar, yeah, probably, but like Clark can go, Doughty can go, Kuzmenko can go, even like Perry can go. Montreal, our obvious are going to be like Suzuki, Caulfield, Hudson, Slafkovsky even. But Demidov, like, I know he's like a spicy name, and like, I'm probably going to be moving off of him. I do have like a dedicated streamer spot that's not him, so I might be able to open up too. Ottawa, like, Shabbat, Brady Kachuk, Stutzla, like, you guys aren't dumb. You'll figure it out. All right. If you have any like fringe guys, feel free to chirp us on Twitter or in the Discord, however you like it. So early in the week, we're going to be jumping on Columbus Blue Jackets. I also like Edmonton for that. If you could get both, man, like that's +2 games on Monday, and then you're looking at +1 game with Edmonton on Wednesday. You could even swap Columbus off and go to New Jersey, Philadelphia, Tampa, the New York Rangers. You could look at any of these teams for the Wednesday games. Buffalo's playing Utah. So like there's some options where, you ride Columbus through Tuesday and then you swap over to one of these guys for the Wednesday game. Or, say you're done for Wednesday. Like how does the scene shift a little bit? That all of a sudden when Wednesday happens, then Philadelphia's got the best schedule. Then we're looking like, as these days happen, it automatically updates here on the game grid. So starting Wednesday, Philadelphia, the New York Rangers, the New York Islanders remain, but the Islanders have that Friday, Sunday, which makes them appealing, but Philadelphia has that Wednesday, Friday. So, give and take, just do a little bit of homework here. The game grid is free. If anybody wants to use it, go for it. FHFhockey.com/game-grid. Fantastic resource. I haven't had to work on it in a long time, so I'm pretty happy that it's still rocking as it is. Sorry, I lost my spot here. Okay, off nights. We're thinking about the Islanders, the Rangers. That's where Edmonton, Vegas come in, and then your fringe guys. They just got to go. Anybody that's going to be benched, even more like half or more of their games, they got to go. And if you want, like, there's some guys that are worth targeting that don't, like, independent of schedule and like independent of trying to exploit just this week and streamer spots and stuff. There are some long-term ads out there that are worth looking at. Patty Kane, Matt Zuccarello, even Evander Kane is kind of coming back. I think Jack Roslovic is interesting, but also you got Zach Hyman kind of like on the horizon. So I don't know. Roslovic is a good idea. Like if he's not super highly owned, go for that Monday, Wednesday for Roslovic. Like he's the easy number one ad. Power play 1 while Hyman's not there. So I think there's short-term upside to be had with him, especially early on in this week. Like he's obviously the guy worth looking at. Then we're looking at Trevor Zegras as the Philadelphia like back half of the week ad. He's up to 63% right now, and he is the most added player over the last 10 days. He has gone up 42%. So not only is his hot streak like 10, 12 games old by now, but also, man, Philly's got a decent schedule this week. Zegras seems to be a pretty, he's fitting in really well. And then Troy Terry was number 2 for most added over the last 10 days. Let's get into New York. I have some really interesting analysis to share with you guys in terms of like their number one. I'm going to triage Artemi Panarin and find out why he fucking sucks this week. And I'm going to share that with you guys. We're going to talk about some top targets right off the bat. And then we're going to get into Panarin and kind of just look at the Rangers as a whole. Not to provide a cure for what we should do, but at least there's an explanation. And I think Artemi Panarin, I would buy low. Just putting it out there. All right, our targets, obviously Will Cooley is going to be the marquee player from this team, left wing, right wing, strong hits, shots, seeing some time on the power play as Mike Sullivan tries to get things going. Alexis Lafreniere is like next man up on that power play. He's top line, has been moved off of power play one. The ownership is really decent, so you can get him at a pretty good discount. Then if you're looking for like a floor and just 4 games, like Gavrikov is, defense is really easy to kind of slot in on even a heavy nights, stuff like that. So keep an eye out for guys like Gavrikov. Even Noah Laba is pretty hot right now. Which is saying something, just because there's not a ton of hot players on the Rangers, especially at home, where Taylor Radish is the points leader at Madison Square Garden this season for the New York Rangers with 3 points in 7 games. Yeah. Obviously there's other guys that we can look at. And if Vincent Trocheck comes back, I had the VT in my mind. Vincent Trocheck comes back, the power plays are going to get shooken up. The lines are going to get shaken up. So just keep an eye on the status of that, and just whether or not it's, Cooley could lose his top power play spot if Trocheck comes back. And Trocheck was out on the ice on the 6th of November in a non-contact, and he, like, the beat writers were like confirming that Trocheck was not going to play yesterday, but the way that these tweets were worded, it made it seem like he was questionable. So like, I don't know if I'm hoping too much, or if like there's something to be read into there, like the fact that he was almost questionable for that game. They made it feel like a coin flip. So, all right, let's talk about Artemi Panarin here, guys. Slow start, to say the fucking least, right? Like, this is his second rough season in a row, and I only say season. It's been like, a handful of games, just over a dozen games. So one's a season, one's a rough start. And I think there's 2 distinct explanations for what's going on with Panarin. One is a lot more detrimental than the other, and I think they're both plausible. The detrimental one is that he's aging out, that he's getting old. The other explanation is that last year was a fluke. It was a down year that got Laviolette fired. And then this year, now you have your growing pains with new head coach Mike Sullivan. Was last year just kind of like a fluke down year? And you put down in like the biggest quotes ever, because that's a great year for 90% of the league. But for like relative to Panarin and his last few seasons, his 90-point pace last year was like a down year. And people, the Rangers fucking sucked until New Year's Day, and then they kind of like were 500 the rest of the way. But after a President's Trophy season, and like such a wild season for the Rangers. So let's talk about the symptoms for Artemi Panarin. He's coming in with a 51-point pace right now. His last 7 seasons paces: 90, 120, 92, 105, 113, 113, 90. So he's shooting like almost like over half of his production. And then that 120-point season, he's almost a third. Like, he's closer to a third than he is to half. His shooting percentage is 6.4, which is about a third of his normal efficiency. His shots are 2.9, which is kind of like right in line. 2.9 per game. His last 7 seasons. Last year was 3. Previous season, 3.7. That was the bomb went off season for Panarin, man. He was such a high efficiency shooter and a high volume shooter for maybe the first time in his career. Like, that high of a volume. 2.5, 2.4, 2.5, 3.0, 2.4. So his 2.9 shots per game this year doesn't stick out like a sore thumb amongst the rest of those 3s and 2.5s. And, it kind of fits right in. His time on ice is the highest of his career, 21.03 average time on ice this season. 71.4% of his assists are secondary, which is not great in terms of like repeatability and sustainability of point, point income. And his offensive zone starts right kind of in line. Like 2 seasons ago, his best season to date, he was seeing 80% of his starts in the offensive zone. And now it's kind of like fluttered back down to 56, which is the same range he's been able to have 113 points in, 105 point pace in. So it's not insane. His IPP is the lowest it's ever been. So not only are his line mates not scoring, but when they are, he's seeing less action on those goals than he ever has since 2016-17. His on ice goals for per 60 shows a 48% decrease over the average of the last 7 years, and it's 38.4% less than last year when he got a 90-point pace. His teammates and himself included, nobody is scoring while he's on the ice. His on-ice goal expected goals for is higher than it was last season, which is wild because like that to me says, okay, they're getting to the dangerous spots. They're just getting robbed nonstop. His teammates are not scoring. He's not scoring. Overall, they're generating 2% more dangerous chances. The shot rates are up amongst him and his teammates while he's on the ice. His shot rates are up. Line mate shot rates are up 11.3%. The scoring chances amongst himself and the line mates are up 13%. High danger scoring chances on ice are up 12, but they're converting on 44.5% less chances. It's such an unlucky streak for Panarin. His 2 most common line mates, Zibanejad and Lafreniere, and JT Miller included. And this is all evidence. Like, look at JT Miller's shooting percentage, 7%. His 16, 19, 14, 15, going back year by year. Zibanejad, 7.7% shooting, which is the lowest of his career and half of his norm. Lafreniere is like an 11 or 12, 13% shooting guy. He's under 6% this year. The entire team is snake bitten. I mean, it's a horde of monkeys on backs in New York right now. And I think as Trocheck comes back, I'm not saying like he's going to be kind of a bellwether for this cure-all or anything, but his imminent return could be it could be some sort of catalyst. I mean, we all have our fingers crossed for this. The Rangers are the worst and perhaps the unluckiest team in the NHL at home, at less than 21% goals for percentage when playing at home. That is just what was the opposite of head and shoulders, because that's above, right? Like, are we going dick and ankles? Like, dick and ankles below the rest of the league. They are 0-7-0. They only have 1 point at home, and that's via an overtime loss. They are the worst in the NHL in points percentage at home. They have the 6th most high danger chances for. Blues have the 7th. They're the 2nd worst team at home. They're shooting under 3% at home. The next worst teams are the next worst team is LA, who is shooting double that at almost 7%. And like, how's this for weird? Like, the Rangers are the best team on the road, the best, like first in goals for percentage, first in expected goals for percentage, second in scoring chances for percentage, first in high danger chances for percentage, first in high danger goals for percentage, 7th in shots for percentage, and 7th in Corsi for, and first in points percentage. They are the worst team at home and the best team on the road. On the road, Artemi Panarin's point per game. JT Miller and Zibanejad have 6 points in 9 games on the road. At home, this is where Taylor Radish leads the Rangers with 3 points in 7 games. JT Miller and Mika Zibanejad are the only 2 players with 2 points in 7 games at home, and Panarin has 1 point, and it's a goal. The Rangers are garbage at home, plain and simple. 2 of their games this week are at home, and they play 4 games. They're 2 games at home, both off nights. So if we're looking at the Rangers, as a team that's like worth shopping, the waiver wire for and things like that. We're probably not going to fit Will Cooley in on a Saturday. So we're looking at Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, 3 games from these New York Rangers. If 2 of those games are effectively worth fuck all, the Monday game at home against the Nashville Predators and the Sunday game at home against the Detroit Red Wings, if they are that bad at home, and we're looking at the New York Rangers as like a high priority ad right now, we might be shooting ourselves in the foot. So I think it's wiser to look at the New York Islanders, who, the front half of their week isn't super solid. Like, yes, we can go for a Will Cooley on Monday, Wednesday, right? We can go for even a Jack Roslovic Monday, Wednesday, and then supplement that the back half of the week with a New York Islander, with a Philadelphia Flyer. Like, there's options. So I'm not saying ignore the Rangers altogether, but they are terrible, terrible team on the road, and 2 of their 3 off nights are on the road. So take that with a grain of salt, with a shot of penicillin, and cross your fingers, I guess. What is nice though is I looked 3 weeks ahead for the Rangers. They have 11 games over the next 3 weeks, and 7 of those 11 are on the road. So, close to a vast majority, but definitely a majority. There's a 2-game road trip, a 3-game road trip, and another 2-game road trip. So we're talking about the team being able to have a chance to like build momentum of feeling like a good team, having those, first in the league statistics, turn into habits, turn into instinct, and then bring that home to Madison Square Garden and hopefully just kickstart the bounce back for the entire team. Because for them to be like, that is Jekyll and Hyde to the highest degree, man. Like, worst at home, best on the road. Those are 2 different teams, guys. Like, that is really, really strange. Hopefully these road trips over the next 3 weeks is a good chance for the Rangers to like kind of be like, oh yeah, this is who we are, and this is who we've always been. Like, let's be this team at MSG. I think it's a good time to buy low on some of these Rangers. Like, yeah, you might have to chew down a couple weeks of piss poor home performance, but over the next 3 weeks, only 4 of their next 11 games are at home. These 2 games included, actually. So after this week, you have 2 out of 2 out of 7 games are at home. So 7 out of 9 are going to be on the road, and it starts to look pretty good. So I don't know. Fingers crossed. But again, I said should bounce back, and should is the number 1 word that is going to bite you in the ass in fantasy hockey. Because what should happen doesn't always happen. New York Islanders, let's move on here. 4 games, 3 off nights. They have that no Saturday, and they're not jack shit at home like the New York Rangers. We're looking at Kyle Palmieri, Anders Lee, Emil Heineman, who is a pretty good, like, oh my God, I was watching the Islanders last night, and like, I forced my wife to watch it because the Islanders, was it the Islanders? Yeah, I think it was. Like, they had this tic-tac-toe, just such a great play, and Heineman was in the perfect spot. Am I thinking of the right team? I think I am. They played Minnesota, right? Like, yeah, I think it was. But Heineman, like, dude, the puck went up, like it zigzagged. It was so cool. Anyway, Heineman one-timer right in the back of the net. So he's a good play for hits, but he's also scoring a fuck ton right now. So he's worth looking at. Tony D, just going to throw his name out there, like, some power play time, but like, that is Matthew Schaefer's spot. 11 points in 15 games for Matty Schaefer, 60-point pace for the kid. And it, like, we've kind of like typecast the New York Islanders as this boring defensive, a team who only does offense when they capitalize on the rush, and like, they would rather capitalize on the rush than sustain pressure in the offensive zone, like setting up zone entries, any of that. Like, they just want to boom and go, and then the puck goes straight back, and like, they play defense all the time. This is the least structured New York Islanders team I've seen in a very long time. Like, this is the highest scoring Islanders team since 2008, and they're giving up just as many goals as they're scoring. Like, this is high event hockey from the Islanders, something we as a collective fantasy hockey community have been like begging for. Please just let these guys like just play hockey. And it's the beards. Lou's finally gone and they're growing beards and they're allowed to grow beards. And now they're just this sloppy high event team. And hopefully, like, hopefully that continues for a long time, because that to me is good for the league. But yeah, they're not going to be like as boring of a team to talk about. Kyle Palmieri, man, like power play one, and it doesn't feel gross to recommend power play one guys on the island. And we're seeing the same thing with Anaheim. Like, I talked about it at the top of the show. Like, this is a team who for so long has been bad. And like last year, I think it was Jackson Lacombe at like 90%. And then everybody else was like 20% owned. Now Anaheim is starting to look pretty good. They're, fourth in the league in points. So time to take them a little bit more seriously. I think the kids have arrived, and I don't know if it's just Lou Lamoriello being gone on the island that is working for them, but and I'm not saying that like they're this fucking kick down the doors team, because they're still like just violently average in every single team stat. Like I was prepared to write this whole thing like, oh, look at all the differences between 2024-25 the Islanders and the 25-26 Islanders, and like they're just violently average in every single team stat except for goals for per game and goals allowed per game, which have both shot way up over last year. They're scoring a ton of goals and they're giving up a ton of goals. So it's a good team to bet the over on in any game that they play. But yeah, man, we got to look at like Anders Lee, Emil Heineman, even I'm not sure the ownership of Matt Barzal. I know there were some folks out there who were worried about Barzal after he got scratched, but I think that was just he was late to a practice or some shit. And yeah, but we're like in this one league I'm in, Bo Horvat is like ranked 6th over the last 7 days, and then you got JGP ranked 27th. Bo, obviously he's rostered pretty high at 85%, but like JGP 11%. He's been playing really well. Matty Schaefer at 91, and then Barzal at 65, so he's worth a just go check. And then we're getting into the streamer territory. Emil Heineman, 26%. Anders Lee, 17. He's got guns. And, he riffs a lot too. So like you're going to get shots, you're going to get banks. Palmieri is, kind of on fire a little bit lately. And then JGP is worth a shot at 11%. Like if your waiver wire starts to get thin, but I like Palmieri, and then I'd probably go Heineman, and then I'd probably go Lee. That's then when I would start to get into the JGPs. If you're only looking for riffs, that's where Romanov is going to be your guy. Tony D, like, I just don't know if there's anything there, anything at all, if he doesn't have power play one. And fuck you, Jonathan Drouin. Tired of your fucking face. Fuck that guy. Not going to recommend him. He sucks. He's bad. He couldn't even cut it with Nathan McKinnon. Bonkers, dude. Fuck that guy. Nashville, 3 games, 3 off nights. Johnny Marchessault, Steven Stamkos. He is a streamer, folks. He's not a hold anymore. So that's why he is in this conversation as a streamer. 19-point pace for the kid this year. That is wild from Stamkos. Both seasons as a Predator have been his lowest shot volumes. And if you exclude his rookie career, or his rookie year, in 2008, almost 30 years ago, almost 20 years ago, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock math. That is both Nashville seasons account for his lowest point paces ever. So like we keep talking about this bounce back that's bound to happen for Steven Stamkos because of his shooting percentage that indicates a rebound should happen. But the rebound that we're talking about, like the neighborhood he belongs in, is the 50-point neighborhood, 50 to 60 points. Like Tampa Stamkos is gone forever. So Stamkos is a hard no for me. I think he's a hard drop. And the name cachet is what's tricking you into like keeping you from dropping him. So I think just do it. Like 19-point pace, ladies and gentlemen, from Steven Stamkos. That is bad. He's streamer territory. Like, I would rather have Marchessault than Stamkos right now, and that's just based on who I'm recommending for streamers. Ryan O'Reilly, he's putting up good minutes. For what it's worth, there's power play exposure there. Brady Shea, same deal. 3 games, 3 off nights for these guys. So you're gonna be able to get them in a little bit. But what I don't like is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're not playing. So I'm thinking Nashville is going to be a team for the boys on the weekend preview. Like when the shutdown shift comes around, that's when Nashville starts to hit. So I'm not thinking about Nashville until Thursday and Thursday night when I'm going to add maybe for Friday. But then even then, there's still competition between how many teams are playing that Friday, Sunday off night? Like 4 teams: Vancouver, Pittsburgh, the Islanders, and Nashville. And Nashville would be they'd be at the bottom of my list, to be honest with you. Like the Rangers, or not the Rangers, the Islanders, then Pittsburgh, then Vancouver, then Nashville would be the teams that I would target for that Friday, Sunday. But people love off nights, not remembering that you can still get zeros on off nights. And I think that's what Stamkos is going to give us. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, back-to-back. That's where Columbus is. If we're looking at Monday, Wednesday, there's Edmonton, the New York Rangers, and the New Jersey Devils. New Jersey Devils, there's not a ton that we can talk about that's like viable streamers. But Luke Hughes is somebody that could, like, he hasn't been doing a ton right now or all season for that matter. But where's he at? Luke Hughes, 88% rostered. So you're not even going to be able to go pick him up. Dawson Mercer has been playing unreal this year. The most unsustainable run of the year for sure. But unsustainable points, they count just like they're just as good. Like that's currency, man. It's like, you want to buy a car with coins. You can do that. You're allowed to. There's no laws going to stop you to pay for a car with pennies. It's going to be annoying. And it's not suggested, but it spends the same. And unsustainable points, they spend the same. So ride it while it's hot. Dawson Mercer is somebody that you could target on the Monday, Wednesday, but he's 66% rostered. So chances are people are trying to get those rear view mirror points. What did I say? 6'7"? Oh my god, my son's in the basement. He just comes around the corner. Dork. All right. Wednesday, Friday, Philly and Utah. Those are going to be the middle of the week teams to look at. Utah's got some fun ones, man. But I think Schmaltzy, I think people are starting to catch on. Yeah, 89% rostered. So there's not a ton that you can do. Like even JJ Peterka, 72% rostered. That's insane. He hasn't done shit in a while. Anyway. Hey, go for it. Yeah, you can borrow it, but you're going to put it back when you're done. He's taking my charger. Friday, Sunday, those are those 4 teams that we were talking about: Nashville, New York Islanders, Pitt, and Van. And that's who we're going to be looking at on the weekend. That's who the boys are going to be bringing to you. I think our ceiling streams for this week, I might go Palmieri. I think if you're talking about a week-long volume play in terms of like trying to get those 4 games and betting on a ceiling, that's where I think Palmieri comes in. And I think Cooley is up there as well. Our floor streams, like our safe streams, like less exciting. I feel like Cooley is that guy. He's going to offer you like a hits floor. So if you're not in a league that like rewards hits at all, then Cooley starts to cool off a little bit. But yeah, I think I'd still go Palmieri. Like target Palmieri, I think is probably the best bet. Then Cooley, I like him for power play 1, but just the question mark that is Vincent Trocheck. Does he come back? Does he take power play 1? Does he do the face-off stuff on the second power play? That remains to be seen. I'm pretty sure that Cooley's safe in the top 6, even if Trocheck comes back. Um, yeah, I like Cooley. I like Palmieri. I think those are the two best options this week. If you're looking for just one ad week long, there's going to be spot start plays that I think are, going to be more beneficial. So the way I usually like to do it, if I have the option, two stream spots, right? One of them is a week long play. That'll be like a Will Cooley or whatever. And the other one is somebody that I just swap out daily. So if I have 4 acquisitions in a week, if I have to spend one on the week long, or if I can get them the week before, uh, I do that. Then I go get my Will Cooley, and then I have 3 spot starts that I can look for. And I think Roslovic for Monday, Wednesday is a good play. And then, moving over to a Palmieri. So like if you hold Cooley for the week, and then you go for like a Palmieri if he's still available, Mantha on that Friday, Sunday is going to be interesting. I think Brazeau's starting to cool off, but I think Pittsburgh could offer some. Tristan Jarry went on IR too, right? Like, yeah, I forgot about that. But Vancouver, you could there is so many guys that have ceiling potential, but the floor is also just so low. Like DeBrusk could, you know, shit donuts for 2 days. Or he could, he's on power play 1. Maybe he could go off. Like Evander Kane might give you a peripheral floor, but like if you're not counting that, again, he could shit donuts and then or he could go off. So that like low floor, high ceiling guys, it's a risk. There's no one that's really a balanced bet that's going to give you a little bit of both. But yeah. Anyway, guys, that's the week 6 script. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, if you want to check out, oh fuck, I had these pictures like lined up and everything. Like, god damn it. And then here, yeah. Anyway, anybody on on YouTube that wants to check these out, I've got 2 images here. One is of the New York Islanders from last year, and then the New York Islanders from this year via HockeyViz. Just based it shows you like how different they are from last year to this year. Their offense from last year was like all kind of concentrated in one spot. Then you look at this year, it's all over the map. You look at their finishing from last year in the middle on the left image, top row, left image, middle. They have that one hot spot in the top right corner, which is Noah Dobson. And this year, you have so much. You have stuff going on in the slot. You have the left side of the point, which is where I think Schaefer plays. So there's action that's happening all over the place. And then you look at the defense splits. Like there's just a ton that's going on for those guys. The other image that I had is just a spreadsheet that I made to show just how bad the New York Rangers are and just how good they are on the road. So how bad they are at home and how good they are on the road. So take a pause if you want. You can pause that that image and take a look at it. It is super small. But, thanks for hanging out. That's it for us. Check us out on FHF Hockey. You want to say hi, buddy?
Hi.
That's my boy. He's wearing his Lebowski outfit. He's got his robe on. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next week. The guys are gonna catch up with you later on this week for the shutdown shift. So thanks for hanging out. We love you guys. Catch you later.